It is time for the Tarkir Dragonstorm Commander breakdown. Guys, I'm super excited. The time is finally here. We have been waiting. You guys know that this is my most anticipated set for this year, so I've been super excited. And what's even better is that we get to break down not just 5, but 10 commander cards now. With this set, we are getting 2 face commanders for each precon, and we're getting 5 precons. So to save time, I'm going to be breaking down each pair like individually, so 2 cards at once. So the aim of this video is to help you decide which precon to buy and also which of the 2 face commanders that you may like to play. Right, with that said, let's get into these cards. So the first precon we are going to be breaking down today is the Abzan precon. So we've got Felafar, the Steadfast, and Baitor, Ancestor's Voice. So each of these is going to come with a Khan and a Spirit Dragon, apart from the Jeskai one, but we'll get to that at the end. Okay, so Felafar, she cares about creatures' toughness, right? So we saw this on the front of the precon box. It talks about, you know, playing creatures of high toughness. That's what she wants to do. This is going to be a defensive deck. If you're a defensive player, you like just building your board and chilling until you are happy and feel safe that it is time to strike. This deck is going to be right down your alley. So that is Felafar. Let's look at Baitor, Ancestor's Voice. Now, this is a 5-cost commander, so 1 more than Felafar. So this creature cares about life stuff, whether you've gained life or whether you've lost life. Gaining life gets you counters, losing life gets you more creatures. The difference between these two is, do you want to play around creatures' toughness or do you want to play around life? Each one is still fairly defensive, especially, you know, Felafar is a bit more obvious. Of course, it's defensive. They're all just defenders. But Baitor is also defensive because of all the life link, you know, all of the life cares cards that are going to be in this deck in order to trigger Baitor. If you're just gaining life all the time, you're always going to feel that little bit more safe. This is going to be more about which of those strategies do you want to play into, the creatures, cares, toughness stuff, or playing around with your life. That's the main difference with these two. I would say also Baitor builds your board a bit more, whereas Felafar doesn't, but Felafar definitely gives you better card advantage. In fact, Baitor doesn't give you any card advantage at all, unless you count reanimating as card advantage because it's a free creature. But, you know, the amount of cards that Felafar could be drawing you is insane. It's not going to be hard to sack like a 5 to 10 toughness creature and then just draw an absolute buttload of cards. Okay, next we have got the Temur deck. So we've got Jeskai, Temur's Raw, and Ureni of the Unwritten. Jeskai is a 3-cost commander, so nice and cheap. So we've got some burn strategy in there. So we've got counter stuff, we got burn stuff, we got card advantage, okay? So this commander's got a lot going on. Ureni's a little bit different, okay? It's a 7-cost card, so it's a lot bigger. This is definitely a lot more just turn your brain off and just swing and attack and just make loads of dragons. Yeah, they both care about, obviously, big creatures, because that's the only way to proc Eskai's ability is by playing creatures with power 4 or greater. But Ureni's just like, let's just put a crap load of dragons on the battlefield. That's it. You know, you don't really have to do too much thinking with Ureni. Just attack them with your big scary dragon, make more scary dragons go brr. I would say these two feel the most different from each other compared to every other precon that is in this set. I like it. I like that we've got that option. You want to go with Jeskai if you want to play a bit more around the value, but also the burn strategy, right? Like, that's so interesting that this has a whole nother element of you're playing these big creatures, but then you're also burning your opponent. Typically, burn sort of decks, they're not creature based at all. They're more just like burning your opponents with like you know, enchantments or instants or sorceries or whatever. But yeah, 2 very different ones there. Right. Let's move on. Okay, next we got the Sultai. So we've got Kotis Sib-Sick Champion or Tevo the Balance Scale. So Kotis is a 3-cost card again, so nice and cheap. This guy is not going to be hard to get pretty big pretty quickly, okay? And I do love the fact that this guy is the only one out of all of them that is card advantage but doesn't say draw a card. Instead, it's saying, hey, you get to choose your graveyard and just cast stuff with that. Yes, you do have to exile 3 other cards from your graveyard, so you are going to want to have a nice full graveyard. So we're talking mill, guys. This deck is going to have some mill in it, and if you're building around Kotis, you're probably going to want a little bit more in there, I would assume. But let's have a look at Tevil, the balance scale, our spirit dragon. So Tevil is flying. All of the dragons have flying. Let's just get that out of the way. They all have flying. Sultai, they have a lot of delve mechanics. That's their like whole thing, right? They like to delve, which means that essentially, this would trigger Tevil twice, right? Because what Delve does is you get to exile cards from your graveyard in order to pay for colorless mana in that card's mana cost, right? So, yeah, let's say you have a card that's like 3 colorless and 1 black. You can exile 3 cards from your graveyard, and that pays for 3 of that colorless mana, right? To cast that card from the graveyard. So this is whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, period. Not just when they get reanimated. So the delve cost will trigger Tevil because you're removing those cards. Also, Kotis's ability will trigger it, right? Because you're removing those cards from your graveyard to pay for the cost to cast a creature spell. So that cost will trigger Tevil, and you'll get a 2/2 black zombie druid creature token. But then, if you're reanimating a card, then that's another card leaving your graveyard, and that's going to trigger Tevil again. You're going to get another 2/2 token. So that's nice. So Tevil is giving you like value in terms of ramp and creature tokens, whereas Kotis is giving you card advantage. Yeah, I will also say that Kotis, he's a bit more like, has the advantage to like one-shot someone with commander damage because you can get him quite big very quickly. Right. Let's go to the next one. Okay, next we have the Mardu. We have Zergo Stormrender and Nariv Crackling Vanguard. So Zergo Stormrender is a free cost commander. Again, nice and cheap. That's what we like to see. So yeah, I like the fact that Zergo has mobilized on him. Not all of these cards have their unique mechanic on there, but Zergo does. So that's quite nice to see. Again, with the card advantage, it's really, really good to see. It's very, very beginner friendly. It's going to always mean that you've always got stuff to do. It's not going to be hard to draw those cards, especially as Zergo has mobilized on him himself. So as long as you attack with Zergo, that creature is going to get spawned. It's going to die instantly to mobilize his ability, and you're going to draw a card from it. So minimum, you're going to draw an extra card as long as you attack with Zergo. And you're playing Mardu, you're going to be attacking, believe me. Right, let's look at Nariv. So Nariv Crackling Vanguard is a 5 cost card. So yeah, a bit more expensive now. So as long as you attack with your Nariv, you're good. And you're probably going to be getting at least 3-4 cards from the top of your library and going to have the option to play them. You can essentially build a stack of those exiled cards, and then at any time, if you attack with Nariv, now suddenly you have, you know, what, 5-10 cards to play with. This deck is going to have loads of ways to create loads of different tokens, we can assume anyway, with Nariv. So yeah, it's going to be pretty easy. So Nariv is the ultimate value commander here. He is drawing you a lot of cards. They are impulse draws, but, you know, essentially you just have access to them as long as you attack. And again, you're playing Mardu, you're attacking. So Mardu in general, get Mardu if you want to be aggressive. In terms of which one of these you would like to run, I mean, both of these are very similar, right? Because they're both very, very value-based. Zergo has that sort of side to him where you could essentially drain your opponent for quite a bit of life if you're making a lot of tokens that are dying and not attacking. So maybe if you're sacking the tokens. If you like drain, then Zergo's definitely going to be more your thing. If you want to build more into mobilize, Zergo is going to be the card for you. And if you just want straight up value, you can't go wrong with Nariv. Right, let's get into our last pair. Guys, I saved the best till at last. We have the Jeskai. If you haven't probably assumed, I have picked up this Precon. We've got Shiko and Narset unified. That's right, team. We have a Khan and a Spirit Dragon on the card at the same time. Why have they done this? I don't know. I don't know why they said, hey, let's just make Jeskai one different. Who knows? For the backup commander is Elsha, Freefold Master. So let's look at these cards. So we've got Shiko and Narset, a 4-cost card, flying Vigilance. That's cool. It has Flurry, so this is another card that has the sort of clan mechanic on it. So Flurry is whenever you cast your second spell each turn, something happens. My mind straight away, single target removal. If you kill one thing, suddenly you're killing two things. If you buff one of your creatures, say you give one of your creatures double strike, now you're giving two of your creatures double strike. So yeah, this is really, really nice. Or it's just replacing your cards. Every time you play your second, whatever, like creature, then you get to replace it, right? So you're not losing those cards. So you just got that constant engine there. It's nice. But what you have to do, though, is make the choice. This is where it gets a bit thinky, right? Because you've got to choose. Do I want to copy that spell, or do I want to keep really refilling my hand? It also comes down to timing and when you cast spells, because you want to cast your bigger, scarier stuff second, so you can get the copy ability. Yeah, and this is exactly what I wanted, right? For my next Precon, I wanted to make it a little bit more thinky. So I'm super happy with the Shiko and Narset Unified. I've seen some people sort of like talking shit on this card, saying, it's a little bit meh, a little bit boring. But I mean, I beg to differ. I think it's cool. I think obviously just reading it sounds pretty simple, but I think playing it is going to be completely different. Elsha Threefold Master. So this is our free cost card, so nice cheap alternative. We got a very different strategy here. So the core strategy is the same, right? It's still Spell Slinger, but Elsha specifically wants you to be using instants and sorceries, whereas Shiko and Narset, as long as it's your second spell, it doesn't matter. It could be anything, right? So specifically instants and sorceries, and she is creating loads and loads of monk creature tokens, so it's creature token based, building a board of loads of little weak monks that all just get super powerful the more spells that you cast. So the main difference between these two is that Elsha wants you to play as many spells as you possibly can, right? In order to trigger prowess from her and her monks as much as you can, get them as big as you can. Shiko and Narset is very different. It has a copy ability, so therefore, the bigger the spell, the more advantage you are going to get by copying it, the more value you're going to get from copying it, right? And it also has got that inbuilt value engine into it. So quite different play styles between these two, even though they are both Spell Slingers decks. So yeah, I'd say this is kind of like the Temur one, where they are both quite different. So if you want that combat focus, go with Elsha. If you want the little bit more control-y, I would go with Shiko and Narset Unified. And those are our 10 commanders, guys. So let me know in the comments below, who are you pledging your allegiance to? Which clan are you going to be rooting for and piloting the deck of? Now, if you don't know, guys, I am going all in on Tarkir Dragonstorm. And if you want to know why, then go check out this video here.